Operation Status Quo. Operation Status Quo. Prepare to engage. Operation Status Quo. Ready to engage. Operation Status Quo. Engaged. Engaged. Hello and happy Friday. A happy Friday to you, the lovely people of the world. It's so true, me and you. Here we are, Operation Status Quo. I'll just sing the whole show today. Operation Status Quo. I'm Pete Palmer, don't you know? And here we learn to flow with the quo. Yo, yeah, yo. Did I lose everybody already? Hey, happy Friday to you guys out there, and welcome to Operation Status Quo. I am Pete Palmer, your user-friendly host, as it were. We are broadcasting live from the comfy confines of my very own home right here, ladies and gentlemen. And you're with me, and I'm with you, and you're welcome here in my home, and hopefully I'm welcome wherever you're watching. You could be in your home, it could be in your car, it could be, well, if it's in your car, hopefully you're not driving, you're a passenger, or perhaps maybe you're in a park going for a walk, maybe sitting by a lake, sitting on the beach, maybe in a plane. I don't know how many, on a train, maybe you're on a boat, maybe you're on a jet ski right now, maybe you're water skiing right now. Water skiing, and you're watching the video. Hey-o. All right, so here on Operation Status Quo, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, we observe the status quo. We learn to flow with the quo. And of course, we also learn to flow around the quo, because not every quo has a great flow, don't you know? And you have to figure out for yourself which quo you want to flow with and how you want to flow with the current quo that's out there. I don't even know. I just gave myself, like, my whole brain just twisted around itself. And I think the back of my brain is now in the front of my head, and the front of my brain is in the back of my head. And it might have even flipped upside down a few times. But so it's Friday. We're heading into the weekend. And we're just going to, kind of ease our way out of the week. First of all, and first and foremost, I hope you're feeling great out there, because that's what it's all about. Sending out messages of love and joy and peace and harmony and oneness and togetherness with a little bit of a satirical tone. But we still do really care about everybody out there. And as I always say, this is a place of love and togetherness. So, first and foremost, you guys are welcome here. As you see, I've had a few interviews already since I started, and I've talking to more people behind the scenes and trying to work things out to get, more of that kind of stuff out there. So, and you too, you're welcome, and you're welcome to be here anytime and share whatever you like to share. So please like this channel, subscribe to this channel, share it out to your friends and family and all that kind of stuff, and click the notification button so you know when I'm going live, and you can pop in and join me, and we can all hang out together here on Operation Status Quo. All right, so today, just because it's Friday and we're headed into the weekend, we figure, let's keep it light a little bit, right? And we're going to do This Day in History. We'll talk about things on this day in history. It's a segment I used to do previously, on an older version of the show. I used to always enjoy doing This Day in History. So that's what we're going to do here today, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time for This Day in History. Yeah, and on This Day in History, we talk about days like today, but not today, because today is its own day, and the days that we will be discussing have already passed us by. So maybe next year, whatever happens today, if something grand happens today before it's over, like maybe if one of those nukes goes off, or the aliens land, or whatever happens, maybe that'll be on This Day in History next year if we go back and do it on the same day, right? So, and that's why we're here. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, that we all know, and again, this is one of the main reasons that we're here with Operation Status Quo, is because we realize that the world is just like, it's like a maniacal mess. You couldn't make anything more, all, misconstrued and, convoluted and obfuscated, or whatever words you want to use. You can't make it any more so than it is. So that's why we have to just, put a smile on our face and get together as a group of loving, like-minded people. And remember that, we're creating communities locally. And that's what we have to start thinking of. We have this great technology. We can connect like this and everything. But we got to start looking, outside our front door, looking out my back door. You got to look out the back door a little bit and see your neighbor across the way and give a wave. I went for my walk today and two different people I ran into, I mean, they all got the earbuds in. It's, it's the weirdest thing because I'm just walking. I see a fellow human being. I always want to wave and say hello. And it just happens more times than not where like they don't even look up, or they don't even notice I'm there, or, maybe they're blatantly ignoring me, whatever the case may be. And it's just the weirdest thing to me is just that it's like, wow, it's like a fellow human being is there, but really they're not there, It's really just like, it's just really a crazy thing. So I don't understand it personally, like why you don't want to engage with your, they're just like bots out there. I talk about the bots, and that's they're just like humanoid bots with their earbuds in, just and just going about their day without ever paying attention to another soul that's in their path. So you barely can get these people to put their phone down when they're in the store or something, right? They probably go into Starbucks to get their coffee, and they can't even connect with the person behind the counter to get their coffee. It's just like, don't look at me, just give me my coffee. Don't look at me. It's like, what has happened to our world? People are afraid to even look at each other. Okay, so what's going on here? I guess today, April 14th, is the feast day of St. Justin. Did anybody know St. Justin? The patron saint of philosophers. So St. Justin started the whole group of philosophers back in the day. On this day, they don't say what year, but I guess this is just the day that they celebrated. Okay, Stone Mountain. On this day in 1965, Stone Mountain Park in Georgia is opened on the 100th anniversary of the U.S. President Abraham Lincoln's assassination. So Stone Mountain, I've never been there. Have you been there? I would assume that the mountain is made of stones. Maybe that's why they called it Stone Mountain. I guess it's not like Liquid Mountain. It's not like a flowing mountain of water. It's not Lava Mountain. It's Stone Mountain. So I would think generally most mountains are made of some sort of stone and earth, but maybe this one is just a little bit more so. But unless it was maybe Stone Mountain was somebody's name, it had to do with Stonewall Jackson. So maybe that's why. I'm reading further into the information. I'm not going to read all this crap. Oh my God. But anyway, 100th, what was it? The 100th what? The 100th anniversary of U.S. President Abraham Lincoln being assassinated. They opened up the Stone Mountain in Georgia. It's the Stone Mountain National Park. So if you haven't been there, go check it out and give Abe our best, okay? In cold blood on this day, in April 14th, 1965, Richard Hickok and Perry Smith are hanged for the 1959 murder of the Clutter family in Kansas. These murders were the basis for Truman Capote's book and 1967 movie In Cold Blood. So Perry Smith and Richard Hickok, they were hanged in 1965 for murdering the Clutter family. And I think what happened was, from what I understand, is that they couldn't take it, because the Clutter family just always left such a mess, and they were the neighbors. They were in the neighborhood, these guys. And, every time they went past the house, it was clutter, clutter, clutter. And they talked to the Clutters and say, can you clean up your clutter? But the Clutters wouldn't clean up the clutter. The next thing you know, these guys decided they had to clean up the clutter for themselves, and they kind of off the Clutters. They got rid of the Clutters. They uncluttered the Clutters, as it were, and they did have to hang for it, but the neighborhood was thankful because it was much cleaner after that. On this day in 1956, the first commercial magnetic videotape recorder. How about that? What's that called? Ampex company demonstrates the first commercial magnetic videotape recorder. It cost $45,000, and an hour-long reel of tape cost $300. It went into use later in the year. Ampex, received a 1957 Emmy Award for their device. Sorry that I can't read well. I keep wanting to say the P before the M, but it's Ampex, So anyway, there you go. The first digital was 1956. And, we saw how, it's funny because, I was great with the VCRs back in the day, recording stuff. You would set your VCR for a time. Remember that? And it would record the TV show while you were out and stuff like that. Well, it was nice. It was the easier days. I even had a nice video. I still have this video camera. It's in storage now, but, it's a video camera that the VHS tape actually goes in the side, and you would have the camera on your shoulder. I used to go around recording all kinds of crap like that. It was a lot of fun. So, but now everybody's got their own basically movie quality camera on their phone, camera carrying it around. So I guess it takes all the joy, the what do you want to call it? The excitement or the specialness out of it. There's another word I was looking for, but it's not coming to me. Anyway, Black Sunday dust storm on this day, April 14th, 1935. One of the worst dust storms ever in the U.S. It was the most severe in the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. The Dust Bowl was a period of severe dust storms in the 1930s that greatly damaged the agriculture of the American and Canadian prairies. It was brought on by severe drought and failure to apply dry land farming methods to prevent soil erosion. So anyway, there were some pretty big dust clouds, and I guess it was if anybody was back there, anybody out there that was from 1935 possibly, and you remember these dust storms that you want to share, please let me know. So it was pretty dusty. As a matter of fact, I think that's what led to the dustbuster coming to be invented down the line. They saw if this ever happens again, then everybody can stand outside with their dustbuster and you can actually suck up the dust storm as it's going along. So, this is how we innovate and create to move forward. The first atom split by a particle accelerator was on this day in 1932. British physicists John Cockcroft and Ernest Walton used a particle accelerator to bombard lithium to produce alpha particles. What did they do? They confirmed and announced the results 2 weeks later. This was the first split of the nucleus in a fully controlled manner. And so there you go. They split the atom. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We split the atom in 1932. And then what do we do with that? We decide to build like atom bombs and everything. We can't find anything positive to do with it. So we'll just say, well, we can split an atom. Let's figure out what we can do to, just use it to blow something up. Because everything we create, we want to figure out how do we use. It's great that we found this, but what do we do to blow something up? WW1, that's World War I, flying ace Douglas Campbell, on this day in 1918, he downs his first German aircraft. He knocked down his fifth on May 31st, making him the first American flying in an American unit to achieve status of ace. So he was an ace, shooting down the Germans, and doing what he had to do there back in good old WW1, one of our many false flags in our world, ladies and gentlemen. But that's another topic for another day, because we're having fun here today on Operation Status Quo and just seeing what happened on this day in history, but not today, because as I said, today's its own day, and these days are days that obviously passed us by. April 14th, 1912. You know what this one is. It was unsinkable, wasn't it? Well, not so, because it is the Titanic. Matter of fact, another false flag, right? Because they sank the Titanic, which wasn't even the Titanic, it was the Olympia, and they had a bomb in there that blew it up and sank it. Forget the whole iceberg nonsense, because they wanted to get rid of those guys who wouldn't go along with creating the Federal Reserve, which is ironic enough, because here we are now in a space where the U.S. dollar is on its way out and the Federal Reserve's on its way out, and we're trying to get back to equality, and equity, and whatever you want to say, with gold and silver. So, but anyway, it was on this day in 1912 where the Titanic went down, and just like 9/11, where they let all those people die in the buildings, they let all those people die on the Titanic just to kill off a few people. And matter of fact, with 9/11, it was the same thing. They blew up those buildings, and really it was Building 7 where the gold was. So it's always about the money, and when you see these things happen, it's always about the money, ladies and gentlemen. First U.S. president to throw the opening ball of a baseball season on this day in 1910 was William Howard Taft. Yep, he starts the long-lasting tradition of the U.S. president throwing the opening ball of the baseball season. Did Joe the Clone do that this year? I don't pay attention so much. I'd be surprised if he even could reach the plate, or he didn't trip over the mound, or he even knew what sport it was. Because he doesn't even. First of all, how much could you expect a clone to know, right? Like, got to be realistic. He probably only knows whatever information is programmed in. He's just a bot. That's why he's always got the earpiece in. He's always reading. He doesn't understand questions. That kid asked him a question the other day or whatever, because he didn't understand. How do you build? What is a secret to building success? Well, we got to stop COVID. What? It's like, what? You goofy idiot. We know, people, right? We know it's a show. Please tell me you know it's a show. Please tell me you don't believe that Joe the Clone is really running things. Please. You got to know better than that. Hey-o. They can't make it any more obvious that we're watching a movie. That's for darn sure. The first commercial motion picture house. What was this? In 1894, a kinetoscope Parlor opens on Broadway in New York City and begins showing films featuring famous celebrities of the time. So there you go. That's how the movies first started back in 1894. Lincoln was shot on this day. We talked about that, but it was in 1865 on this day, 1865. He was shot. He was mortally wounded in Ford's Theater by, of course, John Wilkes Booth. And, I'm sure there's some conspiracy in that too, just like with Kennedy. So, but we won't get into all that today, because today we're just talking about what our mainstream history tries to blind us with, not necessarily what actually happened. First casualty of the Civil War on this day in 1861, a Union soldier is killed by a gun explosion when Union soldiers were attempting to fire a 100-gun salute to the flag before surrendering Fort Sumter. So, a matter of fact, because I was earlier this week, I think it was the 12th of this week is when the Civil War started, and I guess that was the attack of Fort Sumter, I believe. Anyway, might be mistaken of where it actually started, but I believe it was this day, April 12th, that the Civil War started, but it took a couple days before somebody to die. They worked their way. If we start the war today, give it a couple days, and then we start killing people, right? But anyway, this seemed like he wasn't even killed in battle. They were trying to do a 100-gun salute to the flag, and somebody effed up, and the guy got killed. So, I mean, that's not good. Webster's Dictionary, April 14th, this day, in 1828. Noah Webster's An American Dictionary of the English Language is published. It contains 70,000 entries. I don't know why I said entities. 70,000 entries. 2,500 copies printed, and sold it for $20. And I guess if they adjusted that for inflation, it would be $540 now. So that'd be a little bit expensive. I don't believe dictionaries cost that much anymore. Either way, if you really need to look up a word, you could just Google it, So anyway, the U.S. attacks Libya on this day in 1986. Good old Gaddafi. Easing of the trade embargo with China. This was announced in 1971. U.S. President Richard Nixon. It had been in effect for 20 years, and they eased the embargo trade. Pan-American Union in 1890. The Pan-American Union is established for the first international conference of American states held in Washington, D.C. So, going back to the lifting the embargo thing with China back in 1971, that's because they wanted to make it easier for China to ship over COVID some years later. So, but no, I don't blame China for COVID, quite honestly, because it's all done together. It's a group of people. It's not like China attacked America with COVID. It's a group of people that unleashed it the way they did, or whatever the hell they did, so to attack everybody. So it's easy to point fingers at China, but China's just, that was just, was just a part of it. It's not China's fault per se. First, like the people of China and all that kind of thing. First U.S. Abolition Society on this day in 1775. The Society for the Relief of Free Negroes Unlawfully Held in Bondage is founded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Let's see here. All right, let's do some birthdays. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. You gotta get like you're constipated when you really get to you. That's how it would feel to try to push that shitty cake you eat out afterwards. All right. Loretta Lynn was born on this day in 1935, American country singer. She died in 1922, also known as Loretta Webb. Let's see, the miracle worker, Anne Sullivan, was born on this day in 1866, American educator. The miracle worker in 1887, she became Helen Keller's teacher and companion. And there you go. So there's a picture of them there. That's very, very nice. And anyway, she was born on this day in 1866. And of course, now she has since passed on. So I'm sure you figure that. Anthony Michael Hall. How about that? Anthony Michael Hall was born on this day in 1968. I knew he wasn't that much older than me, just by a few years or something. Anyway, 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, they name those, but they don't name Weird Science. I mean, Weird Science is probably the best one. I love that movie. He was so good in that movie. It's like, that movie was the best. John Shea, born on this day, April 14th, 1949, American Emmy-winning actor. Richie Blackmore was born on this day, 1945. He was the guitarist with Deep Purple. Pete Rose. How about that? Pete Rose. I'm a Philadelphia Phillies fan, so Pete Rose, and he was one of my favorites when I was a kid. Of course, I remember 1980 when the Phillies won the World Series. It was pretty exciting, and Pete Rose was our first baseman. Anyway, he was born on this day in 1941. American baseball player, all-time hits leader, 1973 MVP, 1975 World Series MVP. But of course, we know he was banned from baseball back in '89 because he decided to make a few bets on his own team. I think they frown upon that type of thing. You know, the truth is, it's so crazy that they won't let him back in, right? And just put him in the Hall of Fame and all that kind of thing. Because, you know, the thing is, like, I think he's kind of like a jerk, you know, personality-wise. Like, from, you know, I don't know him, so I can't say. Maybe he'd be very nice to me. I really don't know. But, you know, it always comes down to that type of stuff, right? If they like you, you know, they let it go. If they don't like you, then they use what they can use to keep you down. Julie Christie was born on this day in 1940, British Oscar-winning actress. She was in Dr. Zhivago and some other older movies in the 70s and crap. Gloria Randall Scott. She was American children's leader. Gloria Randall Scott was the first black president of the Girl Scouts back of the USA back in 75 to 78. And she was born on this day in 1938. Anybody else good here born on these days? Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through because these are some pretty old people here. I don't see anybody that's worth mentioning. How about this? Oh, Bert Ives. Bert Ives, he was born on this day. Oh, he died on this day because, yes, he wasn't born in 1995, but he was Burl. I said Bert. Burl Ives. I think I said Bert. Burl Ives, died on this day in 1995, but he was born in 1909. But anyway, born on this day in died on this day in 1995. Why can't I say it right? Why can't I? Oh, Don Ho. How about Don Ho? Hawaiian singer. Remember Don Ho? He died on this day in 2007. You know, for everybody that's born, they got to die. They got to die. It's just the way it goes. Anybody else good on this list? No? Let's go up here and do a quick thought for the day, ladies and gentlemen. We'll leave you with that here on Operation Status Quo. Our thought for the day, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the thought for the day. And what is our thought for the day today on the 14th of April in the good year 2023? Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. That's pretty good, right? Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. So some people you want to get rid of them, and other people you're happy if they stay around. And it's like me, like, you know, like whenever I end this program, you feel very happy. All right. Hey-o. So that's it here for today on a Friday. Just wanted to pop on and, you know, share something with you guys out there, the wonderful people of the world on this day. And, you know, don't forget, this is Operation Status Quo. You're welcome here. Your participation, comments, they're encouraged. You know, would love to have you be part of the show, share your talent, skills. You're welcome to come on. You're welcome to drop some comments and let me know what you'd like for me to discuss. You know, whatever the heck you want to do. That's what I'm here for. I'm a man of the people. You're the people. We're all people. Wouldn't you like to be a people too? We're the people. You and me are people. You know, that's what I always say over here on Operation Status Quo. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend out there. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. Please like, subscribe, and share. Click the notification. Stick with me. Things are building. We're building a beautiful community of happy people that are flowing with the quo. And that's what we got to do here in this crazy upside down backwards world. All right. So I'm Pete Palma. This is Operation Status Quo. Thanks again so much for being here. God bless all of you. Operation Status Quo disengaged.